Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here, and in this video I just want to go over all the books that I got on Black Friday from Book Outlet. And I don't think I've done a Book Outlet haul in quite a while. I think I've done like one or two, even though I bought from them like more than once or twice in the past couple of years. But yeah, I guess I don't remember doing any more like videos. I have to like go check the records and see if I actually have or not. But anyways, I bought 11 books on Black Friday, the day before Black Friday or whatever, for their like 30% off sale or whatever. So I think I've found some really cool ones I'm really excited for. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you've probably already seen them, but there's like a subliminal message to go follow me on Instagram and whatever. So yeah, let's just get started. I think I got a pretty good. Actually, no, I actually don't have a pretty good mix this time. Usually, I have a pretty good mix. This is very heavily like kind of nature, environmental studies type of stuff. I guess oriented more so than like history and stuff. So it's actually a little bit odd for me, but there are a couple books I'm really excited for. We will get to them right now. Let's start with Let's start with the fantasy books. All right, because I think there's only two, I think. We got Dead Man's Steel by Luke Skull. This is the third book in the Grimm Company. The first one being just the Grimm Company, and then the second one is the Sword of the North. I don't know, they're up there somewhere. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that far over there. Probably not. But anyways, the first one I think I only gave it like 2.5 stars. But then the second one, I was like, I'll give it a chance. Definitely liked it a lot more. Still wasn't like perfect or anything, but I think I gave it only 4 stars. So I'm like, I might as well start finishing out series, considering I remember the Grimm Company. I started my very first month of book 2, which would have been January 2018. So yeah, I think I've only finished like 5 series in 2 years. So out of like 30 series or something I've started. So it's quite shameful. So I needed just to start knocking out like trilogies and series and everything. And I thought this would be a good time to do it, because with this I'd have 3 hardcovers. Might as well just get it done, over with. Boom. My first like series that I ever started on BookTube. Get that done. So there's that one. Yeah, I know, what a great selling point. Yeah, I basically got it just so I could finish the series. Anyways, this one is Wicked Saints, and the subtitles Let Them Fear Her by Emily Duncan. In this book, I originally saw it from Kitty at Sea of Tomes. Definitely go check out her channel. Leave a link down below. She talked about this several months ago, but the reason I picked it up is, first, it's got a really cool cover. Second, the title is really cool. It's really kind of dark sounding and stuff, which I like my dark fantasy, my kind of like grim dark stuff kind of going on. But also, it's very heavily inspired from like Eastern European kind of folklore or cultural settings, influences, stuff like that, which is really cool, because I think Eastern European stuff definitely gets overlooked in a lot of things, not just like fantasy and stuff, but even just like general histories and everything. But like Slavic culture, everything is really, really cool. Yeah, that's why I'm excited to give Wicked Saints a try. But honestly, I don't remember much about it except that the cover looked cool. And that it's like Slavic or Eastern European inspired. So I don't know anything about the characters or the plot or anything like that. So I can't help you there. Next up, let's go with the one anthropology-ish book. Normally I have really bad luck with anthropology. I read one, I think, in the beginning of November that I really, really liked, which was The Creative Spark, which was like the first anthropology book I ever liked. So I'll give another one a shot. And I saw Unbound by Richard Currier. And at first I liked the artwork. This is a famous painting of Prometheus stealing fire for humanity from like Greek myths and stuff. The subtitles: How 8 Technologies Made Us Human and Brought Our World to the Brink. So this is kind of a anthropology, general history kind of overview of kind of certain, I'm assuming like kind of like the agricultural revolution, and then certain like technologies. I don't know exactly what the 8 technologies are, because I want to be surprised and not like kind of like look ahead and everything. So I purposely been not doing that. But obviously it's gonna be kind of a good mishmash of anthropology and kind of just overall history. So I think it's gonna be pretty cool. And like I said, it's just got a really cool cover. So that's kind of why I went with that one as well. All right, now I got 2 history books, and I think that leaves like 6 animal and nature and environmental books. But let's just go on to the history ones. The first one is for my World War I collection, which has definitely been growing, which is really cool. And it's Hellfire Boys by Theo Emery. and it's the birth of the U.S. Chemical Warfare Service and the race for the world's deadliest weapons. So this is about sort of the United States Army's chemical operations for things like poison gas and weapons, sort of along that nature, which were fairly prominent in World War One. Once in 1915, the Germans kind of like officially opened that kind of Pandora's box. Everyone kind of like jumped on board and stuff. But obviously, the United States did not really get involved in World War One until the end of 1917, and really not really getting things going until 1918, which is obviously the last year of the war and stuff. So a lot of kind of American stuff is kind of like overlooked because it wasn't, except for like the Meuse-Argonne offensive, there wasn't tons of major events, or what, campaigns and such that the United States was actually heavily involved in. So things like kind of like the United States Chemical Department probably get like overlooked. And if there's like studies on them, it's usually it's gonna be the Germans, the French, and the British and stuff with their kind of like poison gas research and stuff. So this is like just kind of a gap in my knowledge, which is why I picked it up. It had pretty good reviews once I looked it up like on Goodreads and things like that, and that's why I picked up Hellfire Boys by Theo Emery. Alright, and then the next history book, which is probably the book I'm most excited for out of all the books that I bought, and it's Hannibal's Oath, The Life and Wars of Rome's Greatest Enemy by John Priebus. And I'm on a quest to collect pretty much every Punic Wars book, like, written in English. Just anything on Hannibal, anything on Scipio Africanus, anything on any of the Punic Wars. And I'm going to start just kind of branching out into Carthage and stuff more generally as well. Obviously, I have a lot of kind of just like Roman Republic books too, but specifically on the Punic Wars, I don't know, I just think it's a super, super fascinating time period in history. And when I saw a biography of Hannibal Barca, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to pass that up. I think this one is kind of a general biography of Hannibal, not just sort of kind of a narrative of the Second Punic War, which is sort of what happens a lot of times with books about Hannibal. It's just sort of about his, military career during specifically the Second Punic War, even though he did do other things as well. So that's why I picked up Hannibal's Oath. Pretty much if I see a Punic War book or a Hannibal book, anything along those lines, I'm gonna pick it up. So there is that. Alright, so now let's go on to all my sciencey, nature, environmental-ish kind of books. We'll go with this one first. Rough Beauty, 40 Seasons of Mountain Living by Karen Avinian. And at first, I never heard this book until I saw it. And when I looked it up, I was like, yeah, I definitely gotta like try this out. I think from what I understand, the author, Karen Avinian, kind of is like an author of sorts, and she decided to kind of distance herself from society and such, and live sort of in the mountains and the woods and stuff with a cabin and whatnot, pretty far from civilization and whatever. But apparently, like a fire burned her cabin down, and from what I understand, like a lot of her writings were in paper, like just pen and paper type stuff, and a lot of her like life's works just kind of like went up in flames, literally. And then this is sort of her reflections on that event, and also kind of living in the wilderness in mountains for about 40 years. So I was like, yeah, once I read that, I was like, yeah, I have to like pick up this book and just see what is going on with this like person. Just sounds like super interesting. I mean, sad, but it's also super interesting, and I think she's definitely gonna have really poignant kind of recollections on her life she has lived. So that's why I picked up Rough Beauty. Okay, let's go on to another one. We have Venomous, How Earth's Deadliest Creatures Mastered Biochemistry by Christy Wilcox. And this one seems pretty straightforward. I think it's just a book all about, poisonous and toxic and venomous animals. I have a couple shelves of like the life sciences and animals and botany and all that kind of stuff. I just thought, when I saw this one, I thought it'd be kind of a neat little book. I don't know too much specifically about, I guess, poisonous and venomous animals. So, even though I did grow up in Florida and we had quite a few poisonous and venomous things where I live now in Maine, not so much. So, but like I said, just something to fill in the gaps in my knowledge, and I just thought it was kind of a neat little book. All right, next up we have The Curious Bird Lover's Handbook. I don't know anything about it, but and also the author is Niall Edworthy. Don't know anything about it. But I've been picking up a lot of like birding, bird watching, and kind of just ornithology books in general. My wife also reads a little. Like the only thing she reads basically is every now and then she'll read a little bit like on birds and stuff. So that's partly why I got it as well. See if she'd like it as well. But I'm not, like I said, I don't really know anything about it. I think it's kind of like almost like one of those like Reader Digest type books where it's mostly like kind of like facts and stuff. So it's just like short little bites and everything. But it had like good illustrations and stuff. Plus I like the cover, so that's why I got the Curious Bird Lovers Handbook. Right, next up is A Fly Rod of Your Own by John Girac, and this is like a classic of like the sort of like the fishing memoir genre, I guess. I don't know, fishing classics or something, where it's mostly about kind of like sort of instilling like wisdom and anecdotes about like life and everything. Obviously with like fishing tales and stuff, like kind of blended together really well. One of my favorite books of all time was A Naturalist Goes Fishing. That I read last year, and that's by John McClintock. That was like one of my top three favorites of last year. So I figured, when I saw this, I was like, I probably should start branching. Like I want to start branching out even more. I did pretty good this year. Branch out even more and kind of go instead of just purely like nature-ish books. Also do things kind of like these like fishing memoirs, because it is a pretty big kind of subgenre, and this is one of the big like four like big five in that genre. So I just figured it's pretty short. I can give it a try and see how much I like it. Let's see, another kind of weird one is Counting Sheep by Axel Linden, Reflections and Observations of a Swedish Shepherd. And this is just like a tiny little, I don't know, it's almost like a little, like little devotional diary type thing. I'm not really sure, but after I read the kind of like premise, I guess, what it was is a Swedish professor was kind of jaded with life or something, or just sort of getting disinterested with like society, kind of like in 40 Seasons. And he's like, I'm just gonna take the slow lane and become like a shepherd of the sheep flock and stuff out in the countryside, and that's what he did. And then these are just sort of I think he kept like a journal or diary every day for a while. And then these are sort of like kind of like the distilled version of all like the kind of like cool little like tidbits and reflections of basically what he observed and just like thought about everything. So that was kind of a cool little idea, and obviously this will get knocked out like real fast as well. So hopefully find something worth remembering from Counting Sheep. All right, so that just leaves one more nature book, and it's the one I'm most looking forward to reading, and it's Poached: Inside the Dark World of Wildlife Trafficking by Rachel Love Newer. And ever since I saw this book when it was released at the end of last year, I believe, I was like, yeah, this is definitely going on my radar for sure, and I need to pick it up at some point. If you guys are new to the channel, I read a ton. I've already mentioned a bunch, and you probably can just tell from like all the books I just showed you. I have a ton of like animal books, kind of nature environmental books and everything. And kind of like animal conservation is just like a subject that I'm like heavily kind of interested in, and so forth. But anyways, I just thought this would be kind of a really cool mashup of kind of environmental conservation with like animals and like endangered species and stuff, but also combined with sort of the the dark world, the underground kind of black market of like foreign exotic pets, and ivory from like rhinos, elephants, things like that, as well as I'm sure like bushmeat and everything, just all kinds of. I want to just like learn all about kind of all the kind of dark things that kind of go on with like poaching and illegal hunting, stuff like that. I'm sure I'm going to learn a ton from it, and that's why I'm looking forward to reading Rachel Newer's Poached. So there are the 11 books that I picked up from Book Outlet on Black Friday of 2019. I'm really looking forward, especially to Poached and Hannibal's Oath. Definitely my top two out of the set there. Let me know in the comments down below if any of these look interesting to you, or if you bought any books on Black Friday. Let me know what you got and are excited to read in the upcoming future is I think what I was going to say, but in the upcoming days, just remember to comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. I hate doing that at the end of my videos. I gotta find like a way to make it more natural, I guess. But anyways, even if it's a Black Friday book or it's not a Black Friday book, always remember, read victoriously.